It's been one of the craziest off seasons we've seen in regards to the transfer portal. We've seen more names change schools than ever before. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the 10 best running backs that are going to be at different programs in 2022. Before we get to today's video, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you love college football, then this is definitely the place for you. Also, make sure to give this video a like as well, as it helps share the video with more college football fans, plus it helps with that YouTube algorithm. We'll start off this list with former Oregon running back Travis Dye, who stayed in the Pac-12 and transferred to USC. This was a pretty shocking one, as Dye was arguably Oregon's best player in 2021, and he was one of the best running backs in the entire nation. He rushed for just under 1,300 yards with 16 rushing touchdowns. In addition, he also led the Ducks with 46 catches for over 400 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. He went to high school in California, so he's going to be closer to home, but this is a massive blow for Oregon. It's one thing to lose your top offensive weapon, but to have him transfer to USC is a tough pill to swallow. This USC offense is going to be one of the most exciting offenses in all of college football this season, and Travis Dye honestly might be their most underrated pickup of the offseason. Up next is former Georgia Tech running back Jamal Gibbs, who transferred to Alabama. The rich just keep on getting richer, as Alabama adds arguably one of the top running back talents in the entire country. Over the last decade, we've seen Alabama send a number of running backs into the NFL, and it looks like Gibbs is going to be the next one in line. His numbers while at Georgia Tech weren't earning him first-team All-American honors, but he'll certainly go for career highs at Alabama this year. Over the last 2 years with the Yellow Jackets, he rushed for over 1,200 yards with 8 rushing touchdowns. His threat comes in the receiving game, as he's caught 60 passes for 800 yards with 5 receiving touchdowns. He also has 800 kick return yards, averaging more than 25 yards a return with a touchdown. He was already considered to be one of the top running back prospects in the country for the 2023 NFL Draft. Now, he's going to be right near the top. Another really good Pac-12 running back transferred out, but this time he actually left the conference. Former Colorado running back Jerick Brossard left for Michigan State, where he's going to be replacing Kenneth Walker, a transfer that saw a lot of success with the Spartans last season. Brossard was named the Pac-12's Offensive Player of the Year in 2020. In only 6 games, he rushed for 900 yards with 5 rushing touchdowns. His 2021 season took a major step back, as he rushed for only 700 yards with 2 touchdowns. It's going to be pretty tough to follow in Kenneth Walker's footsteps, but Brossard has showed that when he's fully 100%, he's one of the more explosive running backs in the entire country. Since being touted as one of the best running back recruits in the nation, things just haven't worked out for Zac Evans. He'll look to get a fresh start as he transferred from TCU to Ole Miss. Evans was the number 16 overall prospect in the 2020 class, and if you guys remember, had a pretty eventful recruitment process. During his recruitment, he was linked to Georgia, Alabama, LSU, and Texas, and he even signed a national letter of intent with Georgia, but he immediately asked to be released from that signature and committed to TCU. In his 2 seasons with the Horned Frogs, he rushed for over 1,000 yards, averaging more than 7 yards per carry. Over those 2 years, he had 10 total touchdowns. This is another former top running back recruit who just hasn't quite lived up to expectations just yet. Adding him to the high-powered offense of Ole Miss might just be the career revival that he needs. After losing their 2 top running backs from 2021, Arizona State added a really good running back in former Wyoming running back Zac Validae. After 4 seasons with the Cowboys, Validae transferred to ASU. In his 4 years at Wyoming, he rushed for over 3,300 yards with 19 rushing touchdowns. He also added 51 receptions for 600 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. He was the All-Mountain West Conference selection for the 3rd straight season and ranks number 2 all-time on the Wyoming football rushing yards list. He's led the Mountain West in rushing yards per game over the last 2 years. As I mentioned, ASU lost 2 really good running backs in Rachaad White and Chip Trayanum, but I thought they did a pretty nice job replacing them with Validae. Before we get to the next 5 running backs, don't forget to take a second and drop a like on this video. It helps share the video with more college football fans, plus it only takes a second to do. Jaylenberger was dismissed from Wisconsin in October. He's going to be staying in the Big Ten, as he'll be transferring to Michigan State. Man, the Spartans are really trying to strike gold in the transfer portal yet again. We already talked about one running back going to Michigan State. Well, here's another. As a freshman for the Badgers, he averaged 5 yards a carry, totaled totaling 300 yards. He also added a pair of touchdowns on the ground as well. In 2021, he saw a major decline in playing time. He only played in 3 games, racking up only 24 carries for 88 total yards. After a few seasons at Penn State, Noah Kane transferred to LSU. He was the second leading rusher for the Nittany Lions last year with 350 yards, while leading the team in rushing touchdowns with 4. In 2019, Kane set a Penn State freshman record with 8 rushing touchdowns in 10 games. He was expected to be the main guy in 2020, but he suffered a season-ending injury in the first game. Then in 2021, his numbers took a hit as he averaged only 3.5 yards per carry. There are some other really good names in the LSU backfield, but I think Kane is going to be a really solid addition. After one season with Tennessee, Tion Evans transferred to Louisville. He's a former 4-star JUCO recruit who looked really good in his limited action with the Vols last year. He appeared in only 7 games, but he rushed for over 500 yards while averaging 6.5 yards a carry. He rushed for 6 touchdowns and also added a receiving touchdown as well. He dealt with some injuries and struggled to stay on the field, but in his limited action, he showed his big play ability. He had at least 15 carries in 4 games, and in 3 of those games, he rushed for at least 120 yards, including one game against Missouri in which he rushed for 150 yards with 3 rushing touchdowns. Louisville is going to have an explosive offense in 2022, and Evans is going to be one of the main focal points of that offense. After 4 seasons with Clemson, Lynn J. Dixon will finish his career at West Virginia. During his time with the Tigers, he rushed for 1,400 yards with 13 rushing touchdowns. He also caught 20 passes for 200 yards and a touchdown as well. He was a pretty solid running back during his first 2 seasons as he rushed for 500 yards in back-to-back years. His best season came in 2019 when he rushed for just under 700 yards with 6 rushing touchdowns. However, his playing time took a hit along with his production. In 2021, he appeared in only 3 games and had only 10 carries. He's going to get one final shot in 2022 under a new and improved offense under Graham Harrell. The final name on today's list will be Montrell Johnson, who transferred from Louisiana to Florida. He followed his former head coach Billy Napier, who was hired by the Gators to be their next head coach after a really solid tenure at Louisiana. Johnson was fantastic for the Cajuns in 2021 as he was named the Sun Belt's Freshman of the Year. He rushed for over 800 yards and had 12 rushing touchdowns. Florida lost a lot of their running back talent to the NFL draft, so bringing in Johnson is going to give them some really good depth. Well, that wraps up today's video. Which running back on this list do you think is going to make the biggest impact at their new school? Was there a running back I didn't include that you think should be in the next video? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys haven't done so yet, there's still time to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you love college football, then this is definitely the place for you. Also, make sure to give this video a like as well. It helps share the video with more college football fans, plus it helps out with that really confusing YouTube algorithm. Oh, and it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.